welcome, beautiful, to day one of the Rock Your Closet Challenge. I'm Suzanna Kaye, and I'm so glad that you're here for this live video. Now, this morning, you probably received your first task of the challenge, and that is to empty out all of the non-clothing, accessory, and all the other stuff from your closet. So if it does not belong there, that's the stuff that we're pulling out of our closet. That was the task that was emailed to you this morning. It'll be posted in the Facebook unit section of the group. And that's what we're talking about today, because I know that can get people kind of stuck. So as you're joining me, please hop on. Let me know where you're joining from, what your name is. I can't see the names a lot of the times on my comments, but I can absolutely see that we've got several people hopping on. So if you've not yet started your task, that's absolutely okay. This challenge is over the full week. I'll also be around in the group on the weekend to help you out. So there's no rush, no guilt, no falling behind, no deadlines. This is all just for you on your pace. Also, if you did not see any of the tasks, there's a summary post of the task in the Facebook group each day in the unit section. But watch your email, because if you registered for the challenge, then in your email, you will have received the task. And if not, it's not too late. In the description, I've got the link to register. I see Lori's here from Cleveland, Ohio. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. Somebody else is here from Ohio. Linda is here. Diane from Minnesota. Joanne's here. Awesome. Yes, if you have any questions throughout this live, please let me know. But today we're focusing primarily on today's task for the challenge, which was all of that other stuff in your closet. And I will admit, through this challenge, not many people get to see this, but I will share with you. This is my closet, and I'm doing this with you. So this is my closet right now. We have a tiny, tiny, tiny closet. I only get half of it. My husband has the other half, but it's looking pretty rough because I've not been careful with my sweaters. I've got a lot of old clothes hanging in there that do not belong. Who knows what? So I am right here with you through this challenge. It's going to be an amazing week. And if you have questions, just know that you're not alone. I'm here with you, right? So today, our task, as I mentioned, was to pull out all of that random stuff from your closet. So let me pull up an example. This is some of the stuff that I pulled out of my closet, if you can see it. So here's just a bit of the stuff that I pulled out of my closet that does not really belong there. This is hair supply stuff, random accessories that don't belong in the closet. And this is the stuff that we're focusing on today. So all of this extra stuff today, just pull it out of the closet. You can leave the clothes there for now, the shoes if they belong there, any accessories that belong there. But like this is a hair dryer that has a brush on it. Like realistically, I won't use this. So as you're pulling out these things from your closet, there are a few things that I want you to think about. First off, since it's not clothes, not accessories, it does not necessarily belong in the closet, think about, when is the last time that you used it? We all know this question. You hear it all the time, right? When is the last time you used it? And that will eliminate some of these things, even though it's hard. I know this one's a really hard one for me to let go of, because back when I let my hair be straight and I used to fight it to be straight, I use this all the time. And it's just kind of this blow dryer with a brush that spun around to help straighten your hair. But that was years ago. I don't even know, probably about 4 years ago. So I really won't use this. I've not used it in 4 years. I don't plan to go with straight hair again. So this will go. My curling iron will go. I have my own curls. I don't need to add any because it just damages my hair. These types of things are easier decisions, even though they are really hard for me to let go, because the what ifs pop up, right? But what if one day I wanted to curl my hair? What if one day I wanted to do straight hair again? So I say all of these what ifs. A lot of the times what I do is I do what I call a wait and see bin. Now, I will be letting go of these. I will tell you that. But I probably will not quite be ready yet to let go of my little Chi hair straightener, because that was my go-to. That's the one that I needed for everything when I straighten my hair, just in case I lose my mind and decide to go straight hair again. I will keep that for a little bit longer. So I'm going to put it in a bin. And on that bin, I have a date written on the front. For me, it's 1 year from now. For in my closet, it might be different. Whatever date works for you, however long you want to see if you use it. But if I've not pulled it out and used it within that 1 year, then I just need to let the whole bin go. And that's what I do. I take the entire bin to the local charity shop and I say, just give me back the bin. I don't want to see what's inside of it. I've not used any of this in 1 year. Let it go. So the wait and see bin's a really great way if there's something that you're having a hard time letting go of, but you do want to see if you're actually using it. And also that way, if I see the hair straightener again, I will probably pull it back out. But if I never see it, then it gets donated and I probably will forget that I even had it at one point. So that is one of the great ways to get rid of some of those things that maybe you're not using all the time, but you can't quite part with. You see some more people have hopped on. I see Joanne and Diane and Mary. Hi, Mary. Great to see you again. And Jenny. And if I don't say your name, I'm so sorry. I don't want it to be like Romper Room. But great to see all of you as you hop on. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and let me know your name. I can't always see the names unless you tell me. There are some other things that might be in your closet as well, though. So it might not be quite as simple as I've not used it in a year. Those other things, think about where would you look for it? If it was not in your closet, and you had to look somewhere else in the house, if I was hiding it from you, and I said, you put it away in the house, not in the closet, where would you look first? And wherever it is that you would look first in your house for that item, that's probably a great place to store it because that's where your brain's already associating it. Is maybe, you know, if I were to look for maybe these hair clips and they were not in my closet, I had to go look for them, then the first place I would look is probably on top of my bathroom cabinet because I have some similar types of items. So that's a great way to decide where else those items can be stored if you want to store them somewhere else. Now, if you've got plenty of room in your closet for these, that's absolutely fine. Just go through them, make sure that there's nothing that you don't need still. Let go of what you can and put back whatever you do want to store in your closet. And closets are great. Those top shelves are great for memorabilia, things like that. Later on this week, I'll be telling you about, I'm doing a webinar about organizing memorabilia and all of that sentimental stuff. Not really photos as much, but it's mostly on memorabilia and sentimental items. So keep an eye on the Facebook group and your email because I'll tell you more about that webinar about memorabilia later. So if some of those bins are memorabilia, don't worry, maybe just put them aside and I will share how to find out more about that later. Now I see, hi, Amy. Amy says she needs help with all of her closets. Thank you. You're so welcome, Amy. That's awesome. You're in the right place. And then I don't know who said this because it does not always show me, but it says, how do I address living in an apartment with limited space and I need to use both my closets for storage? That's not a problem. You know, we sometimes have to maximize space. On day, I think it's 5 of the challenge, I'm going to be talking, either 4 or 5. I'll talk about how to add more space to those standard closets, especially in apartments. I mean, geez, they give you like 1 bar and 1 shelf. How helpful is that? So throughout this week, I will be giving you some ideas about maximizing the storage in your closets because there's just never enough space, right? So Deirdre says, I struggle giving away clothes that I love despite the facts that I can't wear it, like no longer fit, even after holding on to clothes for years. That wait and see bin might be good for you just because then you can donate the whole bin without even looking at it after a year and you'll know that you've not pulled it out. I will be talking a little bit more also throughout the week on handling clothes that don't quite fit. And if you think that you will get back to them, some of your options with that. So we will absolutely cover that this week because that's a common one, Deirdre. Ivy says, organizing her memorabilia. I will, later on in the week, I'm going to be sharing, I have a webinar coming up on how to organize the memorabilia, but your closets are great space for storing that memorabilia. You just want to make sure to downsize it to something reasonable. Also, I know that some people, once you've pulled all of these things out, it can be really scary because it can feel like a huge mess, right? You've just created a disaster zone as you're organizing. So I want you to remember, don't panic. It takes making a mess to make it so much better. So I know I tell you, pull everything out of that category. And today the category is all the stuff that does not really belong in the closet. But when you see it all out, and if it stays out for a couple days, that's okay. Just remember that by the end of this, you will have that peaceful closet because we're going to deal with this. We're going to figure out what to do with it. We're going to pack it up better, make sure that it all fits, but it will be probably a bit messy to start with because it usually looks like a disaster zone as you organize. And then at the end, it's brilliantly amazing. I see Darlene She says she struggles with getting rid of clothes that her mom gave her, and she passed away in 2017, even if they don't fit anymore. That might fall along with that memorabilia conversation that we'll have in that webinar that I'm going to do. The webinar will be next week, but I'll tell you more information about it once I have all of the registration pages and everything up. I'll tell you more about that later this week, because that definitely is more memorabilia than clothing. I would say go ahead and pull that out and maybe make a pile of the memorabilia clothes. So that way you know what you're actually wearing versus what's really just memorabilia. And we will be going through the clothes themselves this week. I have a good trick for that I'm going to be sharing in one of our videos. Joanne says, how do I deal with adult child's closet when they've moved out and left things there? Oh, that is a whole different subject, isn't it? I will have to do a separate video on that one. Because yeah, that's a whole different subject. And let me make a note to make a video on that. There we go. I can't write and talk at the same time. Isn't that sad? I don't know. Can you? I'll start saying what I'm writing. So Joanne, I will try to find that or address that separately. Ivy says she'll be be on the lookout for that info about memorabilia. Absolutely. Later this week, watch your email and the Facebook group. So somebody says, I use multiple closets and racks in 3 different rooms. I use the top shelves and floors to store items other than clothes, such as office supplies, purses, shoes, vaporizer, all that stuff. I have no other place to put these items. Should I put all of these things out if they're already organized and other things just need to be straightened up or let go of? That's a great question. So if it has been within the past 3 months that you've been through them and organized them, I'd say you don't necessarily have to pull them out. But if it has been longer than 3 months since you put them in there, I do recommend pulling them out, because there's something that happens in our brain where once we've had some space from when we first organized it and we look at it again, we realize there are things in there that we don't really need. So as you're organizing, you're letting things go, and then you start to feel this feeling of loss after a little bit, and your brain shuts down and it stops letting go of things as efficiently that you really don't need anymore. So taking that break of 3 months or so, for some people it's 1 month, for some people it's 3 weeks, but 3 months is a safe bet. If you look at it again, you will probably find some things that you find that you don't really need that you can donate and let go of, or some things that maybe you can find a different place for in your home, but now your brain's just in a more refreshed state. So I would pull them out. You don't have to worry about the purses and shoes, because right now we're going to deal with the purses and shoes later this week, but anything that's not clothes, accessories, shoes, pull those out, give them an eyeball. The pictures probably not, because you can leave those in, because unless you can repack them nicer, we won't be getting into pictures this week. Is it Mariah? I don't know how to say your name, but it's beautiful. What do you do with clothes that you don't wear every day, but is expensive and for special occasions like gowns? We will talk about that on the clothing day, because that's a really, really good question. I hear that one absolutely a lot. So we will talk about that on the clothing day when we're dealing with clothes. Great question. Oh, the multiple closet post was from Lori. Great question, Lori. I share my closet with my husband, who hoards his clothes. Do you have ideas on how to work with others on cleaning out the closet? Generally, I say deal with your side of the closet. It's great to have just a boundary. Like my husband and I, basically, if I show you that closet photo again, let me see if I can pull it up. My husband and I have each half of the closet. So in that half, oh, that's not the one. Hopefully you can see that. Nope. Let me share that again. So with us, our rule is kind of, if the door is open and you can see it on the right-hand side, then here we go. If the door is open and you can see it, then if it's on the right-hand side and the door is open and you can see it, it's mine. So that's my stuff. And on the left-hand side, when the door is open, you should only be able to see his stuff. Here we go. So right here, this is my closet, and this is just my one side of it. So when the door is open to the left, this is just the right-hand side. So we have that kind of dividing line. We are lucky enough to have the door that makes the dividing line, but you can't really force anybody else into making a change. What you can do is be an example and set your own boundaries so that their stuff does not start to impede on your space and cause stress there. But I say most of the time, you really just need to let it go as far as their part. And if there's that boundary, you can just let that part go, shut the door, whatever you need to do, and just focus on yours. And a lot of times, once yours starts to become nice and neat and clean, especially when they can see it, then they kind of wonder what your secret sauce is. And if you've not been nagging them, then usually they will come to you and ask for a little bit of help. I know that works a lot with my husband. So it's not probably what you wanted to hear, but it is something that can be really helpful, especially if you find creative ways to store some of your extra clothes. He might ask for help storing some of those extra clothes that he's not really wearing, and transitioning slowly out of keeping them. Well, you talk about organizing in a reach-in closet. I'm also an apartment dweller, so not too big of a closet. I'm going to kind of talk about more basic concepts, not as much about the closet specifically. So whether you have an amazingly large walk-in closet the size of my living room, which would be a dream, or if you have just a tiny, tiny reach-in closet, these concepts should work no matter what your closet setup is, because I know everybody's different. And thankfully, my closet is tiny, so I can kind of talk to the tiny side very well. I see, oh, hi, Rita. Rita's joined us. I see, same. Yep, somebody else says, space gets cramped too quickly. Absolutely. Welcome. Okay. I moved from a huge house with lots of walls for artwork. My hubby is storing the additional framed art in the closet where we can put it. It has to be an air conditioning environment. We are willing to get rid of, but how or where can we sell it? That's kind of a different discussion about how or where. A lot of times consignment shops, antique shops, or art dealers, if it's depending on the type of art, I would just say start there. You can also start with your local Facebook marketplace group or localneighborhood.com group, something like that. But that's a whole different subject probably. I would say pull it out so that you can start figuring out that process and getting it on its way, though, because if you don't see it, then a lot of times you won't deal with it. It's just human nature. Oh, thank you, Betty. Betty says this is a wonderful workshop with great organizing techniques. Thanks so much. I love that. Well, I'm so glad that you are all here. You're asking amazing questions. So this week, let me double check my notes. This week, we will be talking about, on day 2, we're covering a lot of those accessories. So hats, shoes, purses, we're pulling those out, and we're talking about some ways to figure out what you're really using, making decisions on those, and saving some space there. On day 3, we're talking about clothes, and I see that somebody asked, will you be discussing the use of winter and summer closets? I will. Pretty much it's using the same closet for winter and summer and changing them out. We will talk on that one for sure, because I know here in Florida, that's a huge changeover for me as well. So day 3 is clothes. We're going to talk about how to decide keep or go on your clothes. And I have some tricks. I have my favorite trick that really makes it a lot easier to decide keep or go with clothing. So I will be sharing that one with you, and some of those tricks with dealing with clothing. On day 4, we're talking about some of the containers that you can use, the extra space you can add more storage into. So those of you asking about the smaller closets, this is for you especially, but anybody looking to add more space to their closet, talking about bins and what types of bins can be useful for different types of things, that's going to be on day 4. And then that's also a great catch-up day. So we aren't doing a massive task as much as we're talking about getting prepared for how you want to add more storage or any supplies that you need. And then day 5 is the finishing touches. So this is where you can change out your bins if you need to add that additional storage, but also I have a bunch of tricks that you can use that will make your closet just look even more organized and neat, with some small tweaks and some ways to keep it maintained a whole lot easier. So that way, when you do go to organize, like I showed you my closet, let's see if I can add that back to the screen. This is my closet. I'm doing it with you because I've let that go a little crazy, but you can see that my clothes are not overstuffed. And that's because of my favorite trick that I use to keep my keep my closet purged all year. And it works like magic. So I will share that with you on day 5 as well. And also later this week, I'm hoping by Wednesday, I can have everything set up for the webinar to give you more information about the how to organize your memorabilia webinar, because I'm sure if you're like me, you probably have some memorabilia in the top of those closets and some memorabilia clothes that we already heard about. So hopefully that will help you out as well. So Keep being amazing. Remember today, pull out anything that is not clothing, shoes, and accessories. So you can leave the purses, the scarves, the hats, the shoes, the clothes, but anything that's not part of those categories, pull that out, look at it, make sure that you let go of anything you don't need. Really think about, is there another place in the home where this makes more sense? And try to really get that kind of shaped up. If you have any struggles, if you hit any difficult parts, please post in the Facebook group because we're all here to support each other. You are not alone. Post all of your pictures as you go along. I love to see your progress, and you can encourage each other and help each other stay motivated, feel not alone. We are all in this together. And also today, remember, pull out your laundry from your closet. If you have, like I have, that laundry bin, pull that out and get that washed, because that way you can work those clothes into your closet this week and they will be all ready for you. So hopefully by Wednesday you can get those washed and ready. All right, last question. It looks like, Darlene, one problem is no linen closet and no closet in the bathroom. There's only 2 closets, one in the master and one in the other bedroom. Well, depending on how much space you have in your master, you might need to add just a little cubby for towels or something like that, or one area for towels if there's nowhere else. Another option is you could add just a storage cubby into one of the bathrooms. We don't have a linen closet in our bathroom. We just have one kind of in the tiny one in the middle of the house. So a lot of times what I've had to do is I've used wine racks, those wall wine racks, and rolled up towels and kept them in there, or I've used outside of the door a little tiny shelf unit with a door that I could put towels and those types of linens in, and then further deeper in the house or some of the sheets and things like that. But you might need to get creative. But if there's no way to get creative, then it is okay to keep it in your master closet. Just give it an eyeball, make sure that you're not keeping more than you need, and make sure that you have that space defined. This is the linen space and it's separate from the clothing space. So everybody's different, and what works for you, as long as it's working, I think you're doing great. It's hard as lack of places to put things. I guess that means I should get rid of it. Not necessarily, but a lot of times if you can't find a place for it and it's something that you're not using all the time, it sounds like it might be adding more stress and causing more clutter because it just does not have a home. Homeless items are what stress us out the most. But if you're using it all the time and a good place for it is the closet, then that is okay. So do what works for you. It does not mean that you have to get rid of anything, but I will tell you, the more you let go of the things that you don't use all the time, the happier you will be. It's just such a weight off your shoulders. It's hard to let it go, but as soon as it's gone, it's like you just lost 20 pounds. You do a happy dance. So try it out. Maybe let go of a few things that fall into that category and see how you feel. And depending on how you feel, if you feel amazing afterwards, or if it frees up space and you enjoy having that space, then try some more. I have a question. Will you ever do something to organize a huge catch-all closet, and what to do with some of the things in it? I don't have anything on that right now, but that is something in the future that might come up as either a challenge or a small program that I have. So good idea. All right. I see. Great tip about the wine rack. Absolutely not a problem. Lori says, when you cover clothes, how do you decide how much to keep? I will be sharing that trick on Wednesday. It's a longer trick, so I don't want to go too in depth here. I want to keep this video somewhat short, but on Wednesday, I'm going to give you my secret sauce for that one. Leanne, oh, thank you for the pronunciation. That helps so much, Leanne. Should we add shelving to maximize space in the closet, especially for tops and pants? Yes, there are some ways that I talk about shelving. I will be talking about that, I believe, on the day 4, so that's Thursday. And there are absolutely ways to add shelving to make a huge difference. And even the tiniest, most, apartment closets, you can add some shelving creatively. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up. I do see a question about how many towels I recommend. I'm not going to go into linen closets so much right now, but feel free to ask that question in the group, and I will try to get that answer to you. And I'm sure that other people will also pitch in with what their thoughts are too. I'm so glad to have you here. Keep being amazing. Go do your laundry. Pull out those other items. Don't worry about the mess, because we will get it cleaned up. I promise. It takes a mess to undo a mess, but you're going to do amazing. Just keep on going, and then you still have the weekend after the 5 days. You will have that weekend, and yeah, no pressure. You've got this. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all so, so much, and I will see you so soon. Bye. I love you.